I started this project with Powell and Yvonne and Maria back in November, I believe it was, and we never saw this coming. We wanted to have a resilience building program for 2020. And this is exactly the type of situation in which resilience skills are so important. We had no way of knowing that this was coming our way. Our original focus was going to be on coping with work situations and managing stress. I'm so pleased that we have this infrastructure set up to bring you important information now that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And being one of the hotspots in the United States is especially stressful. And I don't know about you, but this is my first global pandemic. It's not my first disaster. I think that we are all going through this for the first time together, and the first time is always the most difficult experience. I want to say that by tuning in today and learning about ways to be supported and just to support yourself is a great way to get started. Today's tool for our Tuesday toolbox is out of the wellness repertoire of resilience training. We're going to pick up where we left off last week with noticing where we are in the room, taking a few deep breaths, and we're going to learn how to do a check-in that provides us with sort of like taking your vital signs, but for your emotional health and for your feelings and the situation that you are in today. Of course, it's going to change on a day-by-day basis. So I do highly recommend practicing this check-in tool on a daily basis. It's natural, as Powell has already stated, to feel anxious, afraid, and sad through all the changes we've had in just a few short weeks. We've lost contact with friends and coworkers and family. This is a particularly difficult week with Easter, Ramadan, and the Passover celebrations, which are all family focused and group oriented. And I see in my social media pages, so many of my friends are having their faithful services and rituals and dinners together online. This is all very new for us, but I love that they are not letting it go and that they're creating a new way to share their faith during this particularly holy week. With that said, there is a need to soothe ourselves. It feels unusual not to be holding our usual traditions, and it feels unusual to have different routines. And the upheaval in our lives does cause the anxiety, sleeplessness, difficulty coping at times. I want you to know that this type of emotional discomfort is normal. We are all feeling this and we're all in this together. Let's start learning to do the check-in by refreshing our practice of the calming technique that we did last week. So I'd like for everyone to, I have a couple of notes if you don't mind. I'm going to stay on track with my notes. Let's refresh by from last week and do the self-soothing activity called a check-in. It'll take us about 10 minutes. And I invite you to get comfortable in your chair, or if you're standing, to find a comfortable posture. Notice the weight of the floor beneath your feet, the support that you're getting from your chair, from the floor. I'd like you to notice what you hear in the room. Name what you might smell or what you might hear. Name what you touch and what do you see in the room around you. And if your mind wanders while you're taking this inventory of your present situation, it's okay. Our mind wanders. Just bring it back and pick up where you left off. And now that you've noticed your surroundings, take 3 deep breaths. And the way we did this last time was to place our hands over our abdomen, and we can feel the inhale pushing our hand out and count to 4. And as we exhale, we feel our abdomen falling, slowly exhaling. And let's take 3 deep breaths before we start the check-in. Now, last week I told you these 2 exercises are easily done with your eyes open. Today I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, because your attention will turn inward when your eyes are closed. And if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, it's okay to find a point, maybe something hanging on your wall, or maybe the leaf of a plant in front of you, something that you can focus your gaze on, and begin to turn your attention inward. I'm going to close my eyes and do this practice with you. And you don't need to say these things out loud, but I will, to guide you through a check-in. We bring our attention inward, and the first thing we check is where there might be tension, muscle tension, feeling pinched with tendons or muscles. Are your shoulders tight? If they're tight, scrunch your shoulders up to your ears and then let them go. If you need to do it again, scrunch your shoulders up to your ears and then let them relax. Are you like me and find yourself clenching your teeth and your jaw is tight? Kind of fake a yawn. Move your jaw around a bit and loosen it up, and then just let it hang there for a moment. Let's let some of those muscles relax. Maybe you feel tension in your chest over your sternum. Maybe that tension is causing your breath to be shallow. Notice that if you take a deeper breath and feel the breath filling your lungs and filling the space underneath the sternum, that those muscles can begin to loosen and relax. Okay, now that we've done a check-in with our physical feelings, we're going to move on to an emotional check-in. I'd like for you to notice what you are feeling emotionally. You may first only feel discomfort, but that emotional discomfort has a name. Try to name that feeling. For me, it's grief. I'm sad to lose my everyday contact with people in my community. You may be feeling something different. Take a moment to recognize what that feeling is. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Just bring it back. Bring it back and name that discomfort that you feel emotionally. The last check-in of this exercise is to name something that you are grateful for, that you appreciate, something that you are especially thankful for today. I personally am thankful that you have let me bring you some of my experiences with mind-body medicine and share ways to relax during a stressful time. I consider it a privilege, and I am grateful for that. Now take a moment and think, what are you grateful for today? What do you appreciate? Name one thing that you are thankful for. I do want to caution you as you're naming this emotion and naming your appreciation and thankfulness to avoid judging yourself. We have stereotypes that might say to us, you shouldn't feel that way, or you shouldn't care about that. And this thought will take you down the road of feeling guilty or shamed, or maybe less than. And it's just not true. These stereotypes are just figments of our imagination. The emotions are real, and you're okay for feeling them. And whatever you're thankful for, no matter how small it might seem to someone else, it's important to you, and that's what matters. So if you catch your mind trying to critique what you've named in your feelings or in your thankfulness, let it go. Just let it pass by. Now that we're at the end of our check-in, I'd like to take a moment, invite you to slowly bring your attention back into the room. You might want to shuffle your feet or wiggle your fingers. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes, bring your attention back into the room. And there's one more thing left to do, and that's to share what you feel, what you felt, the emotion you felt, and the thing that you're grateful for. You don't have to share it with me and Powell. You're welcome to if you'd like to in the chat box. But pick someone in your life, a friend, a family member, anyone that you go to for support, and share what that feeling was or is and what you're grateful for. Because when we're this vulnerable in this type of a crisis, the only way we'll get through it is by sharing and supporting each other. And that's my talk for today. I think we have just run out of time, but I am willing to stay a couple of minutes. If anyone would like to let me know if that was difficult to do, if you would like some additional training on how to do a check-in, or if you'd just like to give Powell and I a little bit of feedback in the chat box, feel free to do that. Powell, do you have any last remarks? Oh, I think you're on mute.
No, I muted myself. Sorry. No, I think I don't feel. I think the way you wrapped it and concluded was perfect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So we'll be here again next Tuesday for Tuesday's Toolbox at 4 p.m. And there will be an uploaded video on YouTube. We will send you the link so that you may review the video, or you might share with your friends and coworkers. Well, thank you everyone again. We really appreciate you joining us today. So long.